Here is part 2 of Imperial Guard 1 million. I wanted to do this before I forgot absolutely everything from part 1. But it would probably be better if I just forgot everything about parts 1 and 2. This is a real pointless shaggy dog story with some non-characters and confusing story choices. This did clear up some of my confusion with part 1. Part 1 was not set in the year 1 million. All the other tie-ins were, but not part 1. Part 1 did not relay this information well at all. That issue was 1,000 years before the year 1 million, because the two Imperial Guard books at the time were apparently set 1,000 years apart, and it was done in reference to that. Terribly unhelpful if you are like me. And then what we have here is part 2, set 1,000 years after part 1. So, what do you expect? We have a different set of characters, a bunch of identical looking people. Not because I think all black people look the same, but because they are designed to all look the same. I think that is a plot point. They're meant to be clones, or like triplets or something. I couldn't give a shit about this. I didn't want to invest straight away because I already feel cheated by this 2-part story. If you didn't see my review for part 1, I didn't recommend it. I barely understood it. And I think I say chameleon weird. But part 1 had this small team of characters, one interesting one odd one, and a bunch of confusing ones. And I was cutting it some slack because unlike a lot of the other 1 million tie-ins, we did get to see those characters for all issue longer than most. I mean, even this cover here says so. I thought, hey, maybe we'll find out more about Titan Girl, and I can work out if she's meant to be Supergirl or Oracle. But no, this story is told from the perspective of some different, boring future characters who also do not matter. They find a record of what happened before, and so now the issue becomes about filling in the gaps, explaining what happened between part 1 and 2, what happened in the space of 1,000 years, and what became of Titan Girl and the others. It starts off telling this through the means of splash pages. I also think I have pinpointed the cause for confusion. The writer, Martin Quaid's friend, he often accidentally types year when he means century. Although I also admit, I didn't understand how the year 1 million is the 853rd century. Wouldn't it be the 1,001st century? Like 1,001? I didn't know. I was in the top maths class at school, but I don't think I should have been, and I only got a C in the GCSE, and I've done as little maths as possible in the 18 years since. I did much better at English, and I would never confuse year and century at least. Here are those characters from the first part. Waste of time, weren't they? This isn't even all of them. That's how useless they were. And actually, even in that first part, there was at least one member who they set up on the first page who then genuinely did not seem to be in that story. The art here is by Giffen, who is a classic Imperial Guard artist. So they got Superboy, and the story shifts to being a flashback now. And what happens is Delphos dies, I think. Neutron's girlfriend, Delphos, I think she dies. At what point is it okay to abandon a story? This story has tried my patience, and I don't care about anything. And it has done a bad job of making me have any fun. This isn't a bit. I took a break to do this word search. Not with a pen, obviously. I just looked for the words. This was more fun than the issue. Quite a few dummy trails in there. A few tricks and fake outs. This is a proper word search. Not one of those baby ones where Casper and ghosts are like in plain sight. Well, actually, Casper is. Really recommend this word search though. Not too hard, not piss easy, quality spendage of time. Couldn't find any swear words unintentionally spelt out by it, but there is a bit where it nearly says cook. One of my dad's favourite movies is the first Casper movie with Christina Ricci. It was his favourite movie of all time until The Matrix came out. I think we are at the point now where I have used all the photos of my dad that didn't have them with a pint of beer. There is some stuff with Shapeshifter 1 million, and that was the one character idea in part 1 that was a hook. He is forbidden from using his powers for anything besides camouflage. No idea what is going on here though. But we do get to see a lot more of Titan Girl. Still none the clearer if she is meant to be Supergirl or Oracle. I am inclined to say a deliberate fusion. She looks like the former, but has the powers of the latter. Oh, and she is a traitor. She is evil, which successfully makes her sexier to me. Too little, too late. They didn't really do anything with her, and she is quickly knocked out. And then everything goes back to the world of I didn't care. I think doing an issue, a tie-in, or a story like this where you have a set of characters off in a future or alternative reality, it is always a struggle to make it connect with a reader or an audience, because after years and years of reading comics, we become cynical to these sorts of things, and we recognise that they didn't matter. Like, these guys, they don't get any use again. Their story doesn't matter. It is just a detour, and it is not important. Some stories manage to present an alternative reality or a future version, and they do capture people's hearts and minds. Age of Armageddon is a good example of that. There are a lot of characters in that, like Blinky and Morph, that are fan favourites. And then there are versions of mainline Excellent Men characters that people might actually prefer to the original. Excuse to show off my latest acquisition. Age of Armageddon Saberclaw and Saberclaw Jr. I wish Saberclaw Jr. came with a neutral head. Saberclaw came with 2 heads, but I prefer this one. 2 fun figures that are sold separately and complement each other really well. Connecting the chain to his neck is actually really finicky and it falls loose with ease. In fact, I'm really surprised I've managed to show it here without the chain falling off. And it's not just that. There's plenty of other stuff like Ultimated Marvel. There is the Mc2 Universe, 2019. There's plenty of alternative timelines where they have managed to make people care about what is going on and these alternative versions of characters. There's stuff more akin to this, like Here Comes Tomorrow, which admittedly only I seem to adore, and most other people look at the same way I feel about this Imperial Guard 1 million thing. I was a big fan of those future Tiny Titans from that one story. They were fun. And even the original Imperial Guard are good examples of characters like that too. They are very popular off in their own corner of time and space. These guys are underdeveloped as characters. They have heavy backstories, but only a fraction of them really matter in their one story. To me, this is a failure. Not interested in this, and maybe my lack of knowledge on Imperial Guard plays a big hand, but I also didn't like how the story was written. The second part being a flashback, both parts being confusing, the overall feeling of pointlessness, the lack of Titan Girl aggressively moon dragoning a male character like Superboy. I cannot recommend an issue for the Casper word search, so I've got to be a downer and give this 7 thumbs up.